Jump off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And welcome. You are tuned into my daily morning show called Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It, Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, AM 1050, FM 102.3, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, Audible, Amazon Music, iTunes, and more. Because this is a show about hope and happiness, and I want to expand my splatter zone for those things to you as much as possible. So on every major platform, as well as streaming on my YouTube channel where you can watch and listen. Yes, I am so delighted that you're here with me every morning on your way to maybe work or wherever you're going. I'm on a happy 88 mission, 88 million more happy people in the next 8 years. And because of that, I have topics and guests and chatter about all those things that maybe you didn't know, but instead of like the news, when it bleeds, it leads. There's no blood here. Instead, I want to present you with little known facts that make you go, that's cool, that's interesting. And today's no exception. For November 17th, it is National Take a Hike Day. The oldest continuously used trail in the U.S. is Crawford Path in New Hampshire. The beginnings of the mountain path were cleared to the summit of Mount Washington in 1819. Interesting. Hiking can burn between 400 and 550 calories per hour. However, hiking is against my religion. I think it has something to do with the dirt that I just don't like. And it reminds me, I went on my first and last camping trip some years ago. And the joke people still remember, because the night before we left, I called the organizer and said, so who's catering the food? And they thought I was joking. I was actually serious. So, and no, glamping doesn't work either. But you go take a hike today, because that is the National Take a Hike holiday today. But you go and have a great time. Go take a hike. Okay? I do use that expression. I may not camp, but I do use that expression. All right. And what else is it today? Today is National, and this is for the deliciousness of life. It is National Homemade Bread Day, as well as National Butter Day. And did you know that the average American eats 6.3 pounds or about 25 sticks of cow's butter every year? So having said that, you still can have an excuse today to have butter. I like the sweet kind of butter. That's my favorite, or European butter. I'm glad actually that that's not available all the time to me. Otherwise, I'd have some weight issues more than I already do. All right. And finally, it's National Baklava Day for the deliciousness of life. Those of you who've never tried it, it is yummy. I love the annual Greek Orthodox event that it goes over Labor Day weekend. I used to take my kids every year and they would have the yummiest desserts. So you have my permission to have baklava as well as homemade bread, as well as butter today, and celebrate the deliciousness of life. Finally, it is National Education Support Professionals Day. What does that mean? It's celebrating the day of those who support teachers and support the educational process. So these are partners from secretaries to classroom aides to cafeteria workers to maintenance workers to bus drivers and all others who support educators, student leadership, and the students' dues. The people that make your educational process for your children important and easy and graceful, please do give them a little note to thank them, especially now after the pandemic. That's your Happy 88 challenge for the day. And when we come back, my spotlight interview is someone who actually is a big advocate of education, but he's a very well-known sports professional. His name's Ron Brown, and I thought he would be the perfect one to highlight today all of his work beyond playing for the Rams and the Raiders and being an Olympic gold runner. All of that, he took his limelight and shed it on the temporary darkness for those kids who don't have as much. And for that, I absolutely love Ron Brown. So don't go away. Be right back with Ron Brown on Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It, Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, the station that leaves no listener behind.
Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And we're back. You're tuned in to Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It, Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on NBC News Radio, CNBC News Radio, NBC Sports, KCAA, AM 1050, FM 102.3, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere, including my YouTube channel. And if you free subscribe there, you'll get an alert to tell you that the show is about to drop, and you can watch and listen there or just stream at kcaaradio.com. Currently over 100 nations are tuning in, as well as the AM FM coverage of over 5 million homes in Southern California. And thanks to you, this is the number one station of talk, news, in the Inland Empire, as well as this is the number one news talk show at 8 a.m. And I'm so grateful for that and all the people who support in the front end and the back end. Mike Lundgren, Rick in the morning, Mark Westwood, Fred Lundgren. Thank you so much for your support of the show. And as a gift to all of you for this holiday season, I am offering a Happy 88 meal. Which is a collection of some of my Happy 88 products that are in my Balance Marketplace. One, obviously, is my number one best-selling book, 8 Ways to Happiness from Wherever You Are, the audio book, and my children's book, which is Mommy, What Are Feelings? Every feeling has a taste, touch, sight, and sound. You can download that. It works as a coloring book, and your children will be able to color and draw their feelings, and it rhymes too. And it's been recognized by the autistic communities for helping kids express and be comfortable with their feelings. So especially important now as we return and are coming out of a really long pandemic. So that's also included, as well as a download of my moving meditation practice, Tai Chi, Qigong, and a little bit of balance therapy all mixed in. That is a moving meditation that promotes inner peace, one breath at a time, as well as some, Rainy days and Mondays always get me down. Well, first, it's not Monday. And two, that song is not included, but some of my original music is also included in that Happy 88 meal. So if you go to drmarissa.life, go to shop and pick out $28, get you $88 value of my Happy 88 meal. Okay, so there's the commercial. And as I promised, we're going to hear from Ron Brown. He's a Raiders and Rams football and Olympic gold medal winner. He inspires with advice to old and young around making the best choices for your future, the power of faith and prayer, and his own experiences. Without further ado, here's Ron Brown, Spotlight interview for today. Enjoy.
I have a guest today, and my show is about hope and happiness, and my favorite kind of guest is those who have been in the spotlight, who are in the spotlight, who take their light and shine it and help dispel darkness and help where they came from and do things that make them a beneficial presence on the planet. And today is absolutely no exception to the rule. I found Ron Brown actually through another fabulous organization called the Champion Fund. And I got to sing 3 years ago at their gala, and they raised funds, and Ron will tell us about that. They're recognizing Ron Brown, who is an NFL fastest man competition winner, chosen All-Pro, record-breaking wide receiver. If you're a Raiders or Rams fan, I don't even have to say anything anymore. And he's also an Olympic gold medalist, and now addresses issues of social inequity in his retirement. He's the business affairs director for the NFL Goals for Life, mentoring at-risk children, and involved in Teen Savers, Project Touch, supporting homeless centers, Choices, and interactive decision-making workshop to achieve academic success, and Brown and Association supporting neighborhood recovery programs, assisting with foreclosure, short sales, and first-time home buyers. So you can tell that he kind of qualifies on my list as a great guest. So without further ado, please welcome to the studio, Ron Brown.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's great to be here.
And so I have a friend. She does not have an answering machine. She has a questioning machine. And when you call her, it says, "Who are you and what do you want?" So Ron Brown, who are you and what do you want?
That's interesting. Yeah, my name is Ron Brown. I'm here from NFL Retired Players Congress on behalf of Randy, who's a good friend of mine, who heads the Champion Fund at Children's Hospital. When I found out about the Champion Fund, I felt that I need to get involved with that because it's a great cause. Mm-hmm. And we're here to bring more awareness to it and to raise money to help support it.
Beautiful. So tell me about the Champion Fund.
The Champion Fund is helping at-risk youth, but it's also more than that. It does a lot with kids with suicide, a lot of kids with transgender that's having challenges with that, which is my favorite topic. Randy and I talk a lot about that because I'm getting more educated in that space. Mm-hmm. And just all the different things that our kids go through today that didn't have when we were coming up, dealing with social media and being exposed to so much and trying to find themselves.
Where did you grow up?
I'm from Inglewood.
Okay, so yes. I was told yesterday that was called The Wood.
I
have a friend
yes.
that lives there. And so have you always wanted to help, or did that come from what?
Yeah, it actually, yes, it has been like on my heart to always help somebody, to help people. Mm-hmm. For some reason, when I was in like the 7th grade, my grandmother had told me that, people don't really care what you do, it's what you do for others that makes a difference on this planet. Mm-hmm. And that's what you want to be remembered by. And that's always stuck with me for some reason,
So it wasn't enough that you won an Olympic gold medal. It wasn't enough that you got awards in the NFL. You wanted to do more.
Yeah, because, I think that was the platform that God put in my place for me to reach others.
Interesting. And so let's go back. I like to go back to the beginning. Tell me about football. Because you're my first NFL player. And before when we started, he's like, why? What have you got against NFL players? I've got nothing against NFL players. You are the first. I understand that you won't be the last. But I have an interesting relationship with football. I'll put the moose on the table and do a little confession here. The only time football has been interesting for me is when I was single, and I knew that if I went to football at a bar on a Sunday, that I probably have a date the next week. I can't believe I just said that on the air.
Yeah.
But that's the truth. Okay.
Did it work for you?
Yeah, it worked for many years. Yeah. So there you go. But it is an interesting game. What made you want to be a football player?
I've always liked the excitement of the game, and then as I got older, I learned how the fundamentals of football, if you take the same fundamentals of football, what it takes to be a great football player, you can apply that to your lifestyle and it'll be successful in life also.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Like?
Well, the camaraderie that goes along with it, the discipline that goes along with it, the hard work, the teamwork, doing what you're supposed to do when you're supposed to do it. And that falls along the same categories that I use with my kids. And, we have to do what we have to do so we can do what we want to do. And football is like that, though. Football is not just a game. It's a lifestyle.
Interesting. Now, did someone make you do it, or you like to do it, or?
No, actually, no. It was just fun. We just played.
Okay.
We actually played tackle football in the street in my neighborhood. So.
And how did you know that you wanted to do this professionally?
I think that one time I was watching Monday Night Football, and I watched one of the guys say, "Hi, Mom," and I said, "I'm going to do that one day. I'm going to do that." I told my mother that I'm going to be there one day.
And did you do it?
I did.
Did you do Hi, Mom?
I sure did.
Oh, that's so cute. And then you went to Arizona State University and broke records that still stand to this day.
Yeah, I still have records here in Arizona. We just had a little alumni golf tournament this past week. I got a chance to see some of my old alumni brothers. It was good to see them.
That's great. And if you've tuned in just now and you're wondering who I get to talk to, an NFL player who I've never had an NFL player here, but he's also a gold medal winner and a philanthropist. And I wanted to have him on, and we're talking about how he got into football. And then here's the interesting twist. You got drafted, a second draft pick, if I got my facts and my research right, from Cleveland Browns, not a bad team, and you said no because you wanted to stay amateur so you could compete in the Olympics.
Right.
Because you were a runner as well as a football player, because you follow my own life motto, which is don't die wondering.
Right. No, that's true.
Right?
Very
right?
true.
Right.
Absolutely.
That was, and I'm sure you heard a raft load of what are you doing?
Yeah, a bunch of that though. It was a very, very hard but very easy choice for me though. What happened with me is that the Olympics are coming up the following year, and I wanted to make the Olympic team, try my skills at the Olympic team. I felt that football would still be there, but the Olympics come around every 4 years, and didn't really know exactly what was in front of me, but I had faith and trust in God that it would work out for me, and it did.
Wow. Yeah. So you ran. You were a runner, right? Do you still run?
I still train. So, and sometimes in that training, I have to demonstrate. But I try not to do too much of that.
You have a goal. You really have nothing to prove, right? You can't beat that.
I tell my son that. My youngest son too is a pretty decent football player. I tell him that all the time too. I go, man, look, I've done this already. Got paid for it. It's your turn. You know what I mean? Don't let me get up and have to show you everything.
That's great. So you go to the Olympics. Was that, the movies that you watch about it's not that straight of a, who gets to run. So even the fact that you got to run the relay, was that a slam dunk? Did you know already that you were going to be in that?
No, actually, I knew I was going to be on the relay team, but what happened making the team was the hardest challenge.
I bet.
Because everybody who was somebody was in the Olympic trials, and they only take the top 3, the fastest 4. So, I remember the last 10 seconds, one race, that was it. You either make it or you don't.
Wow.
And I almost psych myself out because typically when I get on the track, I think I'm the fastest guy there anyway. Even if I don't win, I think I'm the fastest guy there.
Okay. So there's one key to success.
Yeah.
No matter what anybody else says.
Yeah, it starts with you.
It starts with you.
It starts with you. You have to believe in you. Yeah. So, but at the end of the day, I was able to take third in that race, which qualified me for the team. And I ran the 100 and the 4x100 relay. I took fourth in the 100.
Okay. Almost.
I know it, right? Only in horseshoes. But it was fun, though. We had a good time running, though. And then and as far as the 4x100 relay, the main thing we were just get the stick around, and try to break the world record. And we did.
Mm-hmm. So who believed in you that much that you could believe in yourself?
I have a lot of aunts and uncles.
Okay.
Yeah. My mother comes from a big family. They used to kind of keep me on track.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. My uncle used to slap me around a lot.
Oh, that kind of belief in you.
Yeah, that kind of belief. Yeah, he used to come to the neighborhood looking for me.
Really? To make sure you were on the straight and
Make
narrow?
sure I was doing what I was supposed to be doing.
Wow.
But it was good, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, my father was very instrumental, too, in my life, too, though. My parents broke up when I was in the 3rd grade, though, but they both were instrumental in my life as far as helping me make choices, understanding that making one bad choice can turn a dream into a nightmare. So, but, as a kid, I still want to take shortcuts. So, but as God would have it, he had a purpose for me. So, kept me on track. Even when I would get off track, he would bring me back.
Interesting. What would you say your purpose is then?
To help people. Yeah, to make a difference.
To make a difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the Emerson quote that says, success is to know that one life has breathed easier because you have lived. That is success. I love that saying.
Amen.
Here we go. Yeah. We got that. That's great. So you have kids.
I do.
How many?
I have 5. 3 boys and 2 girls. And 2 grandkids.
And 2 grandkids.
Yeah.
Wow. Oil of LA.
I know it. They're in my heart, though, now. The grandkids are the best.
Oh,
yeah, my kids are, I think my youngest is 20.
So what do you teach kids who didn't have an uncle that kept them straight, who didn't have a mother and a grandmother who believed in them? What do you tell those kids?
That is, it's easy to do nothing. But even doing nothing, you'll get tired of that. I said to you, when you wake up every morning, have a game plan for yourself. You know what I mean? Because you're going to have choices on the way, and make sure that your choices are successful choices. And the main thing is just to believe in yourself. It starts with you.
What if someone has been brought up in a place where they cannot believe in themselves because either they were told that they were worthless, or they were hurt, or they were left, or they were abused? What do you tell a child who cannot find a way to believe in themselves?
Keep God first. Prayer is strong. And faith is one of those things like air, you don't see it, but it meets right in the crossroads of trust and belief. And when you can get your hands around that, when you can get your brain to understand that God has a purpose for your life, and this isn't it, and that every day you get a chance, but you have to be ready and prepared for when you do get that chance.
And there's more where that came from. We're going to return with more of Ron Brown on Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It, Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, the station that leaves no listener behind.
Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And we're back. You're tuned in to Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It, Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, AM 1050, FM 102.3, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, Audible, Amazon Music, iTunes, and more. Because I want to balance out all the bad news out there with some good news. And returning to some good news from Ron Brown, Olympic gold medalist, Ramen Raiders MVP. He's here to motivate and inspire you for the rest of the hour. So enjoy.
And you want to be a hero. You want to be a leader.
What's going on right now? One of the things that I read in your bio was your particular investment in righting social inequity. Let's talk about that for a minute, because we have the time, which is good. How do you think we get to a place where we don't have Rayshawn Martins, or we don't have, all white winners of awards at the Oscars? Let's go at different levels, because this is a systemic issue. So what do individuals do? What should groups do? What should our country do? What should our world do to resolve or to move forward in social inequity?
One thing that I've been experiencing is that everything seems to be a business. From churches to schools to everything that's in front of you has a monetary value to it. That's really not important, because you can't take anything with you. But because we put a number on everything, our prison systems, our school systems, kids got to go to school, perfect attendance, those kind of things. People tend to put that first. And if we can just start to just love one another and just start looking out for one another, the rest, I think, will fall in place. I think that when we start having that selfish thing, when it's about me and not about you, then everything else dominoes the other way. And I've been just kind of experiencing some of our kids in our schools, and I know we're losing some of our youth, and I watch our young kids too, and I always tell them, I said, well, if you were a corporation and you walked in with your pants sagging, would you hire you? So if you wouldn't hire you, why should I? So we try to bring it back to reality and try to make, understanding that it's important.
Your choices are important.
Very important.
What you want to portray is important.
You get one chance to make a first impression, and you never know when that opportunity is gonna bring itself to front, and then here you are looking like that.
Right.
Because I remember one time when I was with my son and we were driving, I left something, I had to circle back and go to him, and at this time he decided to pull his pants down and have his house, and my wife said, "Where's Kennedy?" I said, "There he is right there." And she said, "That's not him." I said, "Yes, that's him. He's in character right now." So I blew the horn. He turned around and turned his hat around and pulled his pants up. I said, "See, he's in character." Because that's who he is when you're not around. And that's important. Who you are when you think nobody's looking.
Interesting. Now, that's one side where if you take responsibility for what you want to communicate and portray, right? So I know there's some young people that blame the system, they blame all the things that are around them, and they don't want to take responsibility. So your wise counsel just now is watch what you are communicating, what you're asking for. What about people who, and I'm thinking specifically of a couple of examples of men that I know, young men who are young black men, and they are not gangbangers, they're not drug addicts, they're not anything, and they get pulled over and asked to spread their legs and get roughed up because they look like someone who's a criminal, and they're pissed, and they are they're trying, but now they've lost that bit of faith.
Yeah, but that's important too, though, and I experienced that too. Because I'm one of those kids, and I still get pulled over. I mean, I live in Diamond Bar, so it's predominantly Asians, and the sheriffs over there, they profile. But there's two sides to that coin, though. I'm all for Black Lives Matter. I think all lives matter. I tell my boys too. I said, if he pulls you over and you weren't doing anything, just follow directions. He can only do so much. Follow directions. There's no sense for you to, first of all, he has a gun. And secondly, he's in authority. So just listen to him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And let him, feel like, okay, well, I did this one wrong. But sometimes they're right. Like I deal with kids all the time. We have one of the largest gang intervention programs in LA. My cousin runs one in Crenshaw called Developing Options, and another friend of mine has another one in LA. And, These kids are killing kids. They're just killing each other, and these police officers have to deal with that. So they don't know what's in front of them when they get there. His day is different than your day. Your day is just dealing with your friends and your homeboys and hanging out. His day is dealing with and trying to protect the community. And sometimes they go overboard, and there's some good ones and there's some bad ones, but that's like in any business. You have good ones and you have bad ones. I think they can make better choices, the police officers, when it comes to actually killing somebody. Taking a life like that. I don't know if they're getting awards for that. I don't know why they're so quick to do that. But I know one thing. If you made it to where a police officer had to have insurance, he would think twice before pulling that trigger. If he had to have his insurance, see, right now it just costs the community, taxpayers. So when you sue him now, the taxpayers pay. If he had to pay, or if his insurance company had to pay, meaning that he couldn't be a police officer if he didn't have insurance, he would think twice before he pulled that trigger. Right now, it doesn't cost him anything.
That's a really interesting point.
It doesn't cost him anything right now. The taxpayers pay. He get laid off, and most of the time they get laid off with pay.
Interesting.
So if you change the dynamics of certain things, you can tweak it just a little bit.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, it'll make them think twice, because now his job is at jeopardy.
Right. Now, there are, I've heard, that's a nice balanced solution. And then I've heard people react to, well, you're siding with the enemy.
Who's the enemy?
So the enemy would be anyone who is taking away my right to just be okay. So you bust me for no reason, and it's wrong. So your explanation just now sort of balances, and you have to sort of see where they're coming from. It's their job to protect the community, and sometimes they go too far, but for the most part, they're doing their job. So then there will be some who will say, because I've heard this sort of dialogue, some will say, you as a black man are siding with the enemy. So
yeah, I don't look at them as the enemy, though. That's the only difference. And I understand what you're saying, but I get pulled over all the time. I used to low ride, so I've been pulled over probably more than everybody.
Okay.
And I always tint my windows too, so I get pulled over for that. But I've been pulled over enough times, and I've had situations where I've gotten upset about being pulled over. Like I was on my way to a meeting, and I watched them make a U-turn just specifically to pull me over for no reason, just to see, because a lot of times they pull you over just to see if you have a warrant, and the other thing that I'm having challenges with is recreation drug thing, this marijuana thing that these kids, and I tell my kids all the time, listen, that's a trap, man. I said, because it's a DUI. It's a privilege in this country to have a license in anything. Driver's license, building license, construction license, dental, any license in this country is a privilege. It's not mandatory. So when you jeopardize that by deciding this recreation stuff, even these kids that I see that, in the draft, NFL says no marijuana. If you want to play in this game, there's only 1,800 jobs. Then you have to make sacrifices.
Yeah.
That's one. And if that's too big for you to get these millions of dollars, then this game wasn't for you. So until they change that rule, because that's their rule, and I understand that if fair or not fair, it doesn't matter.
If you want fair, go to Pomona.
Pick a different sport. This particular sport says no to that right now. It may change later, but for right now, make that sacrifice.
Okay.
It can't be that important.
Yeah. So, do you think you will see social equity in your lifetime? And what needs to change?
It's gonna be tough though. But when I've been watching at the school level, I know when they took God out of our schools and wondering why all hell is breaking loose. It's been a challenge ever since then. So when I watch our kids kind of grow up without having faith, without having two parents in the household, and without that male figure, that male positive role model. It's an uphill battle. It's not impossible, though, because, everything is, like everybody said, I found God. Well, he never was lost, and I find myself when I get sideways that I need to, bring my faith back. My grandmother's foundation comes back. So that foundation is very important, though, but our culture fiber in our neighborhoods has been broken. You know, I'm watching our neighborhoods change from homeowners to renters. We will become generational renters now, the way the home situation is.
Did you watch The Big Short? That was a very interesting movie.
No, I didn't see that one. Was it good? I need to see that one.
Yeah. It really helped me understand what happened in the housing collapse and our role in that.
Yeah, no, it's been a lot, though. We have a friend of mine has a documentary called Cracking the System right now that talks about a lot about our communities, how they put the drugs in our community to fund the Nicaragua war at the time. And, you know, and the problem that I have with it is that was done and it's been proven, but nobody has done anything to fix it. You know, I said, well, you know, they had an oil leak and they charged them guys $300 million to fix that. They should give us at least $1 billion to build our communities back with small businesses and small owners. Because, see, there's never going to be another time in my lifetime that interest rates are going to be this low. And most of our neighborhood credit are challenged. So they're not able to go to the B of A's and the Chase to get home loans anymore. I'm watching them build this big old stadium in Inglewood. Inglewood is a war zone. There's a lot of different gangs right there in that area. And regardless of what they say about, you know, crime rate is down and that kind of stuff, yeah, it is, or not reported. But, you know, we deal with this thing on a day-to-day basis, though. And I'm watching these kids on a day-to-day basis. I'm watching how non-important education is. Education is very, very important. Prisons are built on lack of education.
Interesting.
So all our kids really need to be educated. You know what I mean? If nothing else, find a trade. You know, so one of our programs, we're trying to get trade schools into our middle schools. And I think it's important, too, for our kids. I'm trying to get Spanish taught to our preschool kids because we teach the Latin kids English, but we're not teaching our American kids Spanish. And they need to know a second language. You're going to have a second language in this country to go further.
I think you need to go into politics. You have systemic solutions. That's what I really, really like. Yeah, interesting. So I want to come back on another thing that just went into my mind. You're with the NFL Retired Association.
Retired Players Congress.
Okay. Are you involved at all with the whole concussion thing? That's something I've always wanted to talk about on the air, and I'm just waiting for somebody who knows somebody. So maybe I thought, hey, maybe we can start talking about this now.
Yeah.
So what's up with that?
Well, if you play this game, you're going to suffer concussion.
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah, you're going to suffer concussion. The game is it's a violent game. It's a fast-paced game. It's a fast-thinking game. And you're going to have head-to-head collisions, or you're going to get sidetracked or something like that. Something's going to happen where you're going to suffer concussion in this game. You play it long enough. One of the things that the Congress is doing is we're finding solutions to that. So we've been dealing with UCLA, USC Medical, and Yale and all that as far as finding solutions to that, because a lot of single moms are pulling their kids out of school by the football.
Yeah.
And statistics show that if a kid isn't playing football or watching football by the age of 10, not only will he not be a football player, he won't even be a fan. Because they have action sports. You know, you could be a Tony Hawk or you can be something else before you can be a football player, because it's only 1,800 jobs. There's only so many Peyton Mannings out there. So, you know, you're going to have to make better choices as far as the treatment to this.
Yes,
so we're putting treatment centers together. We find that hyperbarics and CVAC machines are being very successful in that. And we work with a lot of veterans.
That's good. Do you have any mental health, emotional care for what I see as, you know, young kids who have a natural talent in athletics, are only valued for that? They see the money that it brings. They're not balanced in their emotional state. They don't know how to be interpersonally effective. Either they go the beating the women way, or they go the, use the money in a not smart way and then lose all their money and end up homeless. Is there any kind of, do you see the loadedness of that question?
Yeah.
Sorry, I have an agenda here.
Well, the money thing is real tough, though, because what happens with the finances, my experience is we make a lot of money for a short period of time. The life expectancy career-wise for a football player is only 3 years. And I think that it's bad for the NFL to actually pay these kids that much money. You're coming off of a $1,200 monthly stipend to a $16 million You don't understand money at 20.
Exactly.
I look at money different at 55 than I looked at 22. So, I think they should give the money to the kids in benchmarks. I think that there's no sense in giving a kid $10 million signing bonus and a $2 million salary, because now Uncle Sam's your partner. So your first 4 years, you're trying to understand what money is. And your second 4 years, if you last that long, you partner with Uncle Sam and he's taking everything. So, and I tell kids there's a formula for success and there's a formula for failure. A baby mama, a divorce, a uncle's barbershop that went bad, and having all the homies hang around you. That's a formula for failure. You're gonna file bankruptcy because there's nothing else on this earth you're gonna be able to do. Most guys, I'm gonna say like 90% of them, to make $100,000 a month. They be lucky to make $100,000 a year, but you've created an $80,000 overhead for yourself, if not 110.
Right.
You're gonna file bankruptcy. You can't keep up with that when you stop playing. And there's no guaranteed contracts in the NFL. You're week to week. You can get cut from 1 week to the next week, and your salary stops then.
Okay.
So
I'm just taking you out of politics now. You should have a school that trains. I hope your organization actually is sort of a coaching.
Yeah, well, it's it is and it is because we try to let kids know about our own experience so we can give testimonies. The challenge that you have with these young kids right now is there's benchmarks. Driver's license and money, especially in our community. You give a kid a driver's license, he's a different kid. And you give a kid money like that, he's a different kid. He's buying Bentleys and jewelry and everything that doesn't really mean anything because those are his dreams. I understand that. The kids that we work under, though, we get them. You'll buy a house in Moreno Valley. You'll pay cash for that house. It'll be $200,000, and then you'll take that $200,000. Pay cash for the house, rent that house out, and then use that money to buy the Bentley, because you're only going to lease it for 2 years anyway.
Right.
So you bought a $300,000 Bentley that next year you're going to sell for $200,000. That's a bad investment.
Right.
Yeah. So we try to change the dynamics of the investment.
Good.
Yeah, we have a credit union too that's coming soon too to the NFL. That's going to be real exciting too, which is going to allow guys to kind of go longer with their careers.
Now you know why I have him on the show. He's got lots of solutions. That's great. So you're going to be honored at the Champion Fund Gala.
I am.
Yeah, and I'm so bummed. I'm actually going to be out of town speaking myself.
You're not
so
singing?
I won't be able.
I thought you were going to come sing. You're not going to come sing?
Agape International Choir is going to come to sing, as far as I know. But I ain't going to be there. So, I'm a first soprano diva. So you'll be missing one diva. But all my sisters and brothers are fabulous.
That's great.
I just feel bad that I'll miss it. But I get a whole show with you. So there you go, right? And that event is so we can promote it. And anyone that wants to get a ticket or to donate towards that they go to championfund.org and they get to register there. Correct, and support a very, very great organization. And they specifically, I think at the top of the show, you talked what they help at-risk.
Yeah, at-risk kids. But the key is they do a lot over there. They really do. And we have a app right now, a company that we're working with called 5 Miles. It's a program that we're going to do with celebrities. And we can get celebrities to donate something that in there, one man's trash is another man's treasure. So something that's just laying around your house, you can take a picture of it, put it on 5 Miles app. All the proceeds will go to a charity of choice. And so we're going to do a good big campaign because we want to raise probably around $100 million for
small.
Yeah, just a little money, not a whole lot, just $100 million. We can make a difference with that, little bit, change a few lives. Yes.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So that's 5 Miles. The gala is May 14th. And I always end my shows with who would you like to thank? Oh, before that, I'm going to give him Dr. Marissa's Beneficial Presence on the Planet Award to round out. And I don't give every guest that award.
Well, thank you.
I really don't, but you certainly. I knew when I saw the bio and when I had talked to Randy that I wanted to have you on to do that. So 2 things. One is, what's your message to the world, to my listeners, on what they can do to make peace a reality in this lifetime?
Keep God first and pray. Prayer is strong. And I really think that we have to really start with that foundation. Because if we start praying more, God will give us the answers that's in front of us right now, and then we'll follow that direction and we'll be fine.
All right. And then the last thing is, who would you like to thank? Who out there who's going to be listening to this again, who are the people that you would like to give some peace in, peace out, shout out, and love?
That's a good one. There's a big list.
We've got time. We actually have time.
Yeah.
Jarvis
well,
just...
I'd like to thank, my cousin. He's doing a lot of stuff, Big U over Development Options. He's doing a lot of stuff for helping a campaign to raise money to make a difference in these kids' life. I'd like to thank Snoop. Snoop's doing a lot of things in his football league that's helping a lot of kids. So because one thing we found out with our kids, and my grandma used to tell me all the time, is that idle mind is a devil's workshop. So these kids are actually active, playing football, doing a sport, learning the fundamentals of the game, which you can take and transition that to a lifestyle.
Now, Snoop as in Snoop?
Yeah, okay. Snoop as in Snoop. Yeah, it's a good friend of mine. Yeah, Snoop does a lot for the community, though. Snoop has been my guy for years. We've known each other for years.
Okay,
so. And the same thing with Jamie Foxx too, though. Fox does a lot of stuff for the community too, real quietly. That's kind of bringing back those. But there's a lot of guys that are friends of mine that I've known for years that are like giving back, and they're going to be part of this 5 Mile program, donating celebrity stuff to charities and stuff. And people, gravitate to that. These guys have over 30 million plus Twitter followers, and if you can get $1 from each one of them, we can make a difference.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, right.
I just had this great thought to have a show. I'll bring Marianne from Gilligan's Island back on here, Jerry Mathers from Leave It to Beaver, and have Snoop and you and Jamie. Wouldn't that be a great panel?
Yeah, that'd be a good. Could we fit in here?
I'll make it happen. I'll go get another camera. I'll make it happen. Wouldn't that be a great show?
I think it would be.
Yeah. Do they ask them if they would come on with if they like Gilligan's Island?
Yeah, everybody loves Gilligan's Island.
There you go.
You kidding?
Marianne, you hear that?
And the Skipper too.
Well, Skipper's gone. Skipper.
I know,
Skipper,
but
he had to beam in from the other side.
Yeah, no.
But Marianne's a good friend of mine.
Is she?
Yeah, she's been on the show 3 times.
I was a big fan of hers.
Oh, really?
Big fan.
Okay. Well, there we go. Dawn Wells. You just heard it. Another guest loves you. I went and played poker at her place the other day.
Wow.
Yeah, we could come and do poker here. And then a football bet. This is like going in all in the wrong direction with the money. But anyways, okay. So Snoop and then Jamie is a good person.
And I do a lot of stuff with the tribes too. San Manuel, Saboba, Morongo, Pachanga. Those tribes, they do a lot of stuff in the community too.
That's
and
great
I'd like to say thank you for all their support. Yeah, the Pachanga does a great job with us with our homeless shelter down in Temecula called God's Fan Club. They really support us down there. We have a golf tournament coming up Monday, matter of fact.
This money, is it too late for anybody that wants to join that?
No, they can call us,
Okay, where do
ProjectTouch.com. They can.
ProjectTouch.com. Okay.
God's Fan Club. Yeah, we're going to be at Pachanga on this next Monday.
Next Monday? Cool. All right. So golf, anybody that wants to do golf. Another one? We're going to plug every single place this is good. This is a good chance because this is what I tell my listeners, or especially new listeners. There is no reason, I don't care how little money you have, there is no reason why you cannot help either with $1 or with your time. And there's, you do not need to be watching K-word shows. You do not, Kardashian, whatever the idol, it doesn't really matter. I'm all for a little bit of entertainment, but when you sit for an entire weekend watching one certain channel or Netflix, I'm sorry, Netflix, but showing C and D movies that couldn't make it to the big screen, and you're just like sitting there I'm sorry, that's not the way and then you complain about the unhappiness that you're experiencing in your life and how you need to pop a pill that has side effects that are going to kill you. That is not living.
No.
So here, the other reason I bring guests like you is here are some great organizations that you can become involved with. So I don't want to hear it. Okay, go ahead. There's another one.
No, I'm brain dead right now, but I know there's a lot of people probably going to say, man, why you didn't mention me? I'm thinking.
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. Next time. When you come back with Snoop.
But I like to thank Stan Kroenke, too, though, the owner of the Rams, though, because, we're talking to him about doing some real exciting things in Carson. We're going to build a whole sports facility down there. That's going to be incredible. We have basketball, football. We're going to have 14 football, soccer fields out there. And that's coming together real good, too.
Wonderful.
Yeah, Isidore Hall is going to be helping us in that space, and Mark Wrigley Thomas too, though. So, Mayor Carson. So we're doing some real exciting things in the community that kind of make a difference with these kids' lives coming up.
That's fabulous. And when you do get on social media, I'll send everybody over to like your page, because I do like everything that you are doing. And then if there are any single NFL players that like, talk show hosts, you can also go there.
Yeah, no, and there's a bunch of them.
I'm really going to like having you back on here. Thank you so much, Ron.
Thank you for having me.
Fabulous
it's been
having
great.
you
Thank
here.
you very much.
That was so fun. Who would have thought, right?
And wasn't that amazing? He is really one of a kind, wonderful kind of person that I love to spotlight, because he takes his limelight and spreads it to lighten up the darkness that is there temporarily around the world, especially with kids. So make sure you go look him up, support his work. So enjoy. And wasn't that amazing? He is one of a kind, wonderful, and definitely one of my favorite kinds of people, those who have a limelight and use it to spotlight areas of temporary darkness to try to do their part. And so thank you, Ron Brown, again. I hope you enjoyed this episode, number 577, but who's counting, of Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It, Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, the station that leaves no listener behind. And this is Dr. Marissa reporting live from my living room during the pandemic, reminding you that it's all about balance, peace in, peace out, world peace through inner peace, and to have the best day ever.